Hey guys, this is Steel City EDC, and today I'm going to give you a quick overview of the Medford Praetorian tie. Now this is the full size. She's an absolute beast. Seriously thick, overbuilt folder. In the Praetorian line, they do the Micro, then they do the Genesis, which is the next size up, and then they do this one. This is the full size, full thickness. I believe in the Genesis and in this full size one, they do a T, which is slimmer, and they do the tie, which is the full thickness, and that's what this is. This one is in S45 VN steel with the Predator sculpting scales that are in titanium, and this clip with the Medford logo. So I'm just going to kind of whiz over it a little bit for you. This thing is incredible. It's if, like me, you enjoy large overbuilt folders, it's just a joy to behold. It's a big, heavy chunk. So I'll kind of go into that with you and compare it to a few other knives. But you can kind of see it's got a really good edge on it. I mean, say it's a thick pry bar type knife, it's razor sharp, and that's one of the things I've noticed about Medfords. First off, being really transparent, this isn't overly comfortable in the hand. If I was wearing gloves, maybe, and this is probably designed for that kind of thing with this big, thick, chunky beast. But for normal everyday use, I would say this isn't really appropriate, though it could be used. I guess it's all about personal preference. And it certainly, for my hands, isn't overly comfortable. And I think that's a combination of the thickness, the way the sculpting bites into your hands a bit, the clip is very big and oversized, but nonetheless, I still love this thing. You can deploy it. It will deploy. You can take it out like that. I think you can actually thumb roll it a little bit. There you go. But again, it's a big, thick, heavy blade. And what I tend to do is just with a little bit of wrist, do the reverse flick here. And just there. Didn't do that particularly well. Let's do this again. There we go. And with a bit of wrist, that really, really comes open. So yeah, okay, let's do a little bit of a size so you get a feel for this thing, because it's huge. So tape measure first. And you can see we're talking about 9 inches. That is a beast. It's actually a millimetre or two under 9 inches, but nonetheless. In terms of the blade, it's a 4-inch blade. Again, massive. And you've got that 5 inches of handle space. To be fair, you are losing the best part of an inch here because of this finger guard and this. So this is kind of dead space, really. But I've got large hands and there's any amount of space there. In terms of the actual blade thickness, it's 6.6 millimeters. So again, that is a big old chunk, over 0.5 centimeter. Size comparisons, let's start off with a couple of normal folders that you may be aware of. And these are generally considered to be overbuilt. So this is the Rick Hindra Knives XM18 3.5. And I'm going to turn it this way to avoid the camera distortion with the sizes. So again, you can kind of see a generally considered overbuilt knife versus this. And the Medford Praetorian absolutely dwarfs the XM18 3.5. Now, if we put it up next to another generally considered overbuilt folder, this is the Chris Reeves Zan or Umnum Zan. Again, absolutely dwarfs it. And just to give you a kind of feel for that, so let's put them like this. There you go. Now you get a real feel for the beast that is the Medford Praetorian tie. When you look at those blade stocks, just incredible. And we can do the same with the XM18 3.5. So again, absolutely dwarfs it. I mean, they're actually similar length, but apart from that, that's where the similarity ends. It makes this overbuilt folder look like a puny little nothing. Let's put that out of the way. Let's bring in some slightly bigger knives for a comparison. Okay, so I'm going to start off with the Medford Ombile, which is another big Medford knife. And if we put them next to each other like that, you can see the Ombile is actually slightly longer. Make sure they're level. Not quite as wide, but certainly slightly longer. And if we put them side to side now like that, so you can see, let's just move this box out of the way a little bit. You can see the size difference in terms of thickness. Again, the Praetorian tie absolutely dwarfs the Ombile, which is a big knife by any stretch of the imagination or any measure of regular knives. Another large folder, this is the Strider SMF Performance. Again, size-wise. Let's just pop them down next to each other so you can see. In fact, if we do them point down, I think it's easier to get a really good length comparison like that. And again, you can see they're actually very similar size. The Medford has more cutting edge there. But there we go. But once again, the real size comparison here is, yeah, in fact, when you do it like that, this one, oh, it's because of the, I was going to say it looks slightly longer. Again, you know, so a robust, solid knife that's famous for being overbuilt and dependable is dwarfed by the Medford Praetorian tie. Now, final one of the kind of normal knives. This is the Rick Hindra Knives X-Men 24, and that was a really lame flick open. Let's do that better. There we go. So again, without going into the full details, but you can kind of see, again, just absolutely incredible. And just very quickly put them there, so neck and neck. Again, the XM24 is slightly longer, but there's really not much in it. Now, here are a few of the thick knives to compare to. So this is the Reet T1000. Okay, let's pop them there. And again, you can see, oh, let's just get that lined up. There you go. Very similar in terms of length. Again, we've got more width on this, quite a lot of thickness going on. And again, this is a massively thick, overbuilt, chunky knife. But when you put it next to the Praetorian, the blade stock seems puny or thin, comparatively speaking. The Praetorian really is just a beast. The scales are actually marginally thicker on the T1000, but there really isn't very much in it. Yeah, the blade stock is much thinner. Okay, and then the final one is the Maxace Estaphius. I think I'm saying that, Estaphius. Again, so if we put them next to each other like this and line them up nicely, you can see the Maxace Estaphius is a bit longer and it's got substantially more cutting edge. If we turn them side to side like this, again, the Estaphius is longer and the scales are thicker, well, only ever so slightly, but the blade stock is thinner. Again, you can see that. So there you go. There's a few interesting comparisons for you. Let's weigh this so you can see what it weighs. And we'll just fold her back up, okay, and put her on there. And we are coming in at 11.3 ounces. That is an absolute monster. And you're probably getting a feel now for why I was saying this isn't a knife I'd recommend for EDC. So let's take the scales away. So overall, what are my thoughts on this? I think it's an absolutely phenomenal knife. As a collector, which is what I am, I absolutely love this thing. As a huge fan of massive, overbuilt, chunky chonkers, I love this thing. There isn't really any situation I can think of where I'd recommend this as a knife I'd want to use, if I'm being completely honest. And price-wise, you know, these cost, depending on the exact spec you get, anywhere from kind of like, I think it's about $1,200 they start, up to $2,000. So, you know, they are a really expensive knife. And I'm not saying you can't use these, don't get me wrong. I'm sure you can. I'm sure they're very dependable, and I know they're very sharp, as well as being massively solid, thick, overbuilt chunks. It's a personal preference thing. I wouldn't use this knife. I can't imagine a situation that I would use it, but I still love it. So I think, or at least I suspect, so maybe I'm wrong, there are probably very few people that carry one of these, use one of these. I suspect the vast majority are sold to collectors. But, if I'm wrong, tell me. If you carry one of these, you use it, or maybe you don't carry it regularly, you just use it occasionally, let me know. I'd love to hear about that. Tell me a bit about your life and how you use this thing, because I think they're incredible. But we all have different lifestyles, don't we, and different activities and chores and tasks that we do and that we use knives for. So, again, always interesting to hear more about other people and what you use them for. Or maybe I'm right and no one actually carries one of these or uses one of them, in which case, again, that'd be interesting to be verified. So this is Steel City EDC. I'm a small channel. Thank you for your time. Thank you for watching. I appreciate it. Please give me a like. Please subscribe. Leave your comments. Help me grow my channel. It's a free resource for you to understand more about various different knives and EDC stuff. And I appreciate your support. Okay, thanks, guys. Have a good one.